Okay, it's absolutely definite that they're using my phone to do most of the tracking with. Now, I was followed. You see the thing just go over to my house. I was followed. I had gone to, so I had a tail the whole way. And again, this is a helicopter because it's going over vehicles, over um, roads and things, the ways that cars can't. So, as you see. Over top of the buildings. So there's no way. So this is a helicopter again. And I was at Bonanza Casino. And here I was at Dottie's, but they stopped and probably waited for me to come out of Dottie's on top of the Department of Motor Vehicles. Because you see that dot, when it shows a dot like that, they actually stopped there. So they sat down on there and waited for me to come out and then followed me to Bonanza. And you see the dot. They sat up on top of Bonanza's building waiting for me to come out. And followed me. Again, as you see, it's over reservoirs and places that a vehicle can't go. This is a helicopter. Make this smaller. To my property. So they're literally right above my trailer right now. Or the other way around. They were above my trailer earlier and followed me. And then this beacon thing or drone thing that's hangs around. And you see Department of Motor Vehicles. No, I didn't go there. And it's asking me if I'm at Bonanza Casino right now. So this followed me from my house to the casino. I left and they're still there. It doesn't show them following me back to the house. And it's not tracking my activity, even though it should be, and it's my phone and my devices. But the way Google works is it tracks the device that's used the most. So if you have two phones, they're not going to track both phones. They're going to track the one that is used the most. And I'm an older person. I don't have a whole lot of use for a phone. I don't do a whole lot of texting. I don't do a whole lot of anything on my phone. So my phone is used the least. The person and persons who have been cloning my phone, SIM cards, and using my phone to track me and to get into my accounts and all that, they use it more than I do. So they're tracked and I'm not. And also, I've been putting my phone in a Faraday cage. And when I'm not using my phone, I turn it off. So again, they're doing so much more activity. They're the ones being tracked and not me. Even when we're in the same places, it's not tracking me at that place. It's tracking someone who followed me to that place. Again, I'm an older person. I don't want the phone ringing while I'm driving. I'm not going to answer text messages or text anybody while I'm driving. When I'm busy, I'm busy. Don't bother me. So I'm not interested in answering phones or taking calls or making calls in the middle of doing something. I don't like the interruptions. I'm old school. I'm a senior citizen. I've had a whole lifetime before phones were ever made. So I am not someone who's dependent on them, and I'm not someone who can't live without them. I could throw this thing in a drawer and not look at it for a week and be fine with that. The only reason why I use it and keep it with me is because my family wants me to have a phone with me at all times. So if something happens, or if anything comes up, I can call somebody since we don't have pay phones and things like that like we used to have. Okay, so, but beyond that, I use it like an older person. I use it like a person who would use a regular telephone, the kind that has a cord. So it tracks their activity because they're 10 times more active on my line and my account, which keeps running down the battery in my phone so fast and eating up my data and stuff like that. And they should have to pay me for every penny that I've spent since I've been here, having to keep buying new phones because we thought the problems was actually the physical devices, and it wasn't. And having to keep getting new SIM cards and all that stuff takes money and time to do, to keep them out of my accounts, and then they're right back in it. They're using up all my data and using up my time and burning my batteries out, burning through my batteries, where I got to keep charging them. Phones that I didn't even touch the entire day, but I got to recharge it because everybody and their mama's been all hacked into my stuff. They should have to reimburse me for every bill I've paid, every cent of fraudulently using what's mine for their nefarious purposes, and go to jail. But anyway, this is what's going on with them now. And as you see, they're still sitting on top of Bonanza Casino. And I'm home. And then this beacon thing, a drone thing that comes in and out. It's not a beacon because it moves and it comes closer and gets closer. And last night, it was recorded on my video camera, my surveillance cameras. It has a red blinking light right above my trailer last night. So we're actually getting footage of this thing. I need to get out there with the night vision goggles that have the camera attached to it and do some serious zooming in and get some really good photos of this thing. But for right now, this is enough. And today is December 27th? Yeah, it's the 27th of December. It's Monday, just in case I get that date wrong. New Year's was coming up on Saturday. And I just needed to get out the house for a while. It's cold in here, so I'm fully dressed like I'm dressed outside when I'm in this trailer all day long. And it's nice to be able to unbutton and unzip and get somewhere warmer when you've had weeks and weeks of storms and go play. And then, of course, there's always the fantasy of winning enough money to just go, screw this, I'm out of here. But the resources will be available when I need them. I still have to figure out the game plan. And I need to find a location that's in warmer weather that doesn't cost 2 arms, legs, and a couple other body parts. We had one in Napa Valley that we were getting right when COVID hit. And I guess it was a blessing in disguise in our behalf because those properties were destroyed in the California wildfires. And so we would have been there, and our property that we would have newly had purchased and moved all our animals to would have been destroyed in the wildfire. So it worked out for us for the better that we didn't make that move. But now we need to find another location, and I want to get out of the northern parts of the states, period, and go southern, back to where I've spent a good portion of my life, in the southern sections of the states, because it's much warmer. Get closer to the equator. Heck, I would even go as far as hitting some of the islands. The only problem with islands and things are you can pack everything in like a pods and have it shipped to your location, but it's very expensive, and you have to weigh out the cost versus what it costs to move everything. And so you're looking at most likely starting over from scratch and having to do everything over again and reaccumulate everything over again. And I'm older. I really am not feeling that at all. The whole from scratch crap. That's a lot of work and effort, getting the things you need and all the equipment and stuff. And then you're not going to get what you paid for it turning right around and selling it, and then it's going to cost you 2 and 3 times more to repurchase the things you already had again. So I'm not feeling that. I am not feeling that at all. But you also do what you need to do when you need to do it. So I'm hoping that won't be the case. And so something more inland that doesn't require something that extreme. And then if you do need to, if it's a short boat ride, then that's not too terrible versus trying to go somewhere really far away. One day at a time, we'll figure it out. Prayerfully, we'll figure it out. Because I definitely, whatever the case may be, don't want to end up with another situation where the people are such jackasses around me, I can't have any peace on my own damn property. And won't stop intruding and invading and trying to steal and sabotage everything that they can in my life because they're a bunch of racist jackasses. Personally, I'd prefer to get somewhere where there's a lot more brown skin, a lot more mixed cultures of people. The more the merrier, because whenever you get too many of any group of peoples together, it seems like they always have to start acting a fool. And for military town, that's super surprising, because usually military towns are a melting pot, and military towns have a little bit of everybody and have a much, much better attitude. Just like all this criminal activity, usually in military towns, the military kind of is like having a secondary police force and keep the nonsense down and the foolishness down in the area. But in this particular case, the military are a large part of the problem, because you've got rogue, abusive people in the military who are abusing their positions and abusing military equipment and abusing authority to behave like skinheads, behave like common criminals. And so in that kind of a situation, it's the worst case scenario, period. Because when I first got here, I wondered why people were afraid of the military people. And you could tell they were afraid because of the things that the military was doing in public, and nobody called them on their mess. And nobody said anything or done anything about it. When I first moved here, I was in Walmart, and I've seen several things happen. And they were Navy pilots in full uniform. So not only were they out there showing their asses publicly, they were showing their asses publicly in uniform, which is a disgrace. And nobody said anything to them. Nobody corrected them. Nobody did anything, no matter how outrageous or disrespectful and at times abusive their behavior was to civilians. And I've seen that several times out in public around this town. And everybody would just kind of look away and look down and walk away. And I had even asked someone once, why are you guys putting up with this? And they're like, well, it's better just to keep peace, kind of a don't rock the boat kind of a attitude. And me personally, I'm like, I'm not going to be here that long anyway. I'm going to keep my nose out of it. It's not part of my business. As long as they leave me alone, and whatever. Apparently, these people in this town are accustomed to cowling down and accepting, no matter how wrong or disrespectful or disgraceful the behavior is of the Navy boys out here behaving like a bunch of juvenile delinquents, just for the sake of keeping peace. Because this town is a military town, and that means that a large portion of the viability, sustainability of this town is because of the military. So the people are willing or allowing this behavior to continue. And that's their prerogative. I didn't come here to fix nothing or solve nothing. I came here to rest and heal up and move on. I don't want no part of this place or the people here. And there's a lot of foul things about them. There's a lot of good things about them too. But there's a lot of foul enough things about them to where I kind of have the feeling or position that you guys deserve whatever you get. So if y'all preying on one another, well, a lot of them are predatory. And they're just taking turns on preying on each other. So that ain't my business. I'm not getting into it, and I'm not getting involved. But when they started preying on me, it's like, no. I ain't one of yours. And I am not somebody who's going to just sit around and take this mess and tolerate it. And I'm not somebody who's afraid to speak up or correct you if you get out of line. I don't care who you are or how many of you there are. You think I don't have backup? Don't make that mistake. And so, and it's not about being Susie Badass. It's about, if you don't correct behavior and if you don't call people on their stuff, it ain't never going to change. And people treat you the way you allow them to treat you. And I'm old school. You ain't got nothing to live for if you don't have something that you're willing to fight for and die for. And if you're going to come to me wrong, you better hope that it's something worth you fighting or dying for, because I'm already there. So if it comes down to it, that's just the way it's going to go. And I'm the nice one. And I am more than one. I am never alone. So, most bullies are just that, bullies. A lot of mouth, a lot of trying to intimidate you, a lot of, just foolishness. And there are people that works on, and then there's people that it doesn't. And there's people who, if you want to get real, will get all the way real. And then there's people who, like many people in this town, will cow down and allow them to do whatever just for the sake of keeping peace. I'm not one of them, especially since I have no emotional attachment or anything to this town or anybody in it. So, no. There's only so much crap I'm going to tolerate, and I'm at that point where I'm done with this mess. No. And not done with this mess, you ran me off my property, or you're going to run me out of town, or you're going to take what's mine. And no. That's not the done with that I'm coming from. That crap might have worked for other people, but it's not going to work on me and mine. And so, one day at a time, because everybody can get hurt. Everybody can lose their life. So when folks threaten you, even if they threaten to kill you, well, you could die too. So what makes you so sure it's going to be me and not you? And are you willing to take that risk? Because that's where it's going to go. So I don't have to win the fight. I just need to mess you up enough to where you will never forget this fight. And you're going to think a long, hard time before you either come at me again or you come at anybody else thinking that you can just do whatever you want to do. But again, I'm old school. And so we're a whole different breed from these people nowadays. And I might be an old tiger, but I'm sure as fuck a tiger. And they trying to play cat and mouse. I ain't no mouse.